All right, so in this next step, let's try something a little different. We placed all those grids on there and the mullions ourselves. But let's look at another way to approach this. I'm going to first go in and I'm going to put my curtain panel back, okay? I made it empty, now I'm going to make it glazed, okay? So now I'm going to select this whole portion of the wall and I'm going to go to my filter and I'm going to say check none. I want to get rid of my grids and mullions I have there currently, and now I'm going to delete them. Okay. Now next what I'm going to do is select this wall and I'm going to change it. I already made one while you were all working. It's called curtain 2, right? And you see curtain 2 already had a grid on it. What's that all about? Well, I'm going to come in here again and I'm going to say filter and I'm going to say check none and I'm going to get rid of the grids and hit apply. But I can't seem to do that. Why is that? Well, it's because when I click on curtain wall 2 and I go to the edit type function, I change something. Look here where it says vertical grid and horizontal grid. I changed them to a maximum spacing of 5 foot each. Now, if I was to go in here and change this back to a curtain wall 1, right? It says the grid lines would be non-associated due to the changes in type. So I'm going to say delete grid lines. So as you see, if I click and I've got curtain wall 1 and I go to the edit type, look at this. There is no vertical layout grid and there is no horizontal layout grid. Let's pause the video and talk about something. So what we can do here, let's go ahead and hit duplicate and then say, let's make this curtain wall first, right? Or we can make it curtain wall 0, 1. How about that? And then what we can say is we want from none, we can use, just like a beam system, a fixed distance, a fixed number, maximum or minimum spacing. So what if I put minimum spacing in here and put minimum spacing at 3 feet? And then for the horizontal, I did the same thing. I said minimum spacing, and then I said 3 feet. Now you're going to see how silly this is in a second. Now I have all that, right? What I can also do in here, now that my grid is there, I can come in and I can say, let me go back to this edit type and look down a little further. Oh, I have vertical mullions and horizontal mullions that I can set up. So instead of it saying none, I can say that I want a circular mullion on the interior type for vertical and a circular mullion on the interior type for horizontal. Then I can say on the border type 1, and I'm going to put border type 1, I'm going to leave border type 2 empty right now so you can see which is 1 and which is 2. So if I say I want a rectangular, I don't know, trapezoid 5-inch mullion, well, that's a corner mullion. Let's not use that. Let's just use the 2.5 by 5.5. And then I'll do the same thing here as well for the border type 1. I'll say I want the 2.5 by 5 inches and hit apply. And now what you're seeing is that it placed my mullions along the bottom and along the side when I select the curtain wall and come in here and see for border type 2 I have none and border type 2 I have none. So border type 2 is on the right and across the top. Okay, so if I want this to look right, I'll go back and I'll select my curtain wall, come in and I'll say, let's add, right, border type 2. So there's a lot of versatility in being able to create different not create parameters, but to use certain parameters to get a different look. So now I've got rectangular ones going around the outside, and on my interiors, I've also got what? I've got rounded ones, and you can kind of see that profile. And if you look in the 3D view, let me scroll out a little. It's kind of what that looks like out here. Interesting, huh? So if I go back to that south elevation, notice how by default this mullion stops here and the vertical ones continue. But look what I can do here. If I click on that and you see this little toggle mullion join, you see how I can place that one over that, right? So again, click that once, and I let the verticals do the what? Be the dominant. Or if I want, I can click on the horizontal ones and make that work that way. Okay, nice little function, right? So if I come back out, I can also see in the edit type where if I come up, I can change the join condition. You see that how it's not defined? I can come in and say, make the horizontal grid continuous. And now the horizontal ones are continuous and the verticals are broken. Or I can go back in and say, instead of that, I can say border and vertical continuous or border and horizontal continuous. So you can see now I can make the border and the vertical continuous, and now it wraps up on the bottom and the mullions stop here, right? If I want to, I can start going in and creating different patterns in here. So you can see how this is a helpful tool for you to be able to start laying out your curtain walls. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I want you to experiment with this for a few minutes, and then we'll move on to the next point. I have spoken.